Hello, beautiful warrior women. Karen McCoy here. And in today's coaching call, I want to look at how to be a great client that gets great results. So I had somebody ask me, who, of course, this is the all-time marketing question, who exactly do you work with? What do you look for in a client? Well, as much as I'm looking at the client is also looking at me, right? And so when I work with women or when I do a breakthrough call with women, I'm always looking for certain things. And I mean, there's never just one thing. Of course, there's a lot of different things. But in my many years of coaching, um, there seems to be these common threads that come out. So I want to share this with you because it's never just about putting a program or a service out there and opening it up to whoever shows up. Now, I know that's a model for a lot of people, and that's fine. And I did that years ago. You put out something at the gym, and whoever signs up, that's who you coach. And that's really great. And it's definitely a model and it's a necessity. But what I do now at my age and after many years in the business is I call it more boutique fitness and lifestyle coaching as opposed to big box. So you've got the big box where you've got a lot of people showing up and you have a model and it's bringing lots of numbers in because there's a lot of people to serve. And I get that. And we do definitely see that. The gym is that kind of model. There's a lot of online programs where you can sign up for $29.99 and be there with 1,000 other people. Cool. I'm not knocking it because it serves that audience. The audience that I work with is more into boutique fitness and nutrition and wellness. So, and I look for certain criteria and who I found works for me and their success rate. So I want to share that with you. So first of all, of course, I work with women, aging women. So what does that mean? Well, I usually say women over 40 because that seems to be when the body changes, when preference change, when life changes. There might be career change, there might be kids leaving home, so empty nesting, maybe there's retirement or divorce or whatever, but it's also when the body is going through a change. So we know that hormonal changes. They have lived some life, which means they've got a lot of life experience. And women in their 20s and 30s, I was there too, so busy raising kids, working or going to university, got a mortgage, all that kind of stuff. And they're really too busy. And there's other places for them to go that serve them better with that audience and with that community, right? So the community is super, super important. You have to have like-minded, cohesive community. I'm really big on that to support women because no woman is an island and we don't grow in isolation. We don't learn in isolation. So a lot of my women, I say with love, sometimes they're in a midlife crisis. What does this mean? Well, this can mean that their body's not responding. So there's aging happening. There's, like I said, there's hormones. If they've had a colorful diet history, that affects the body and the process that we get to use or learn to use to help them whatever their goals are. Is it weight loss? Is it toning and shaping? Is it strengthening? Is it working through health conditions, or is it all of the above? So it's really important that we understand what the goals are and assess where we're at, like a roadmap. We can't get to where we're going if we don't know where we're at, right? And so that piece is really, really important, is getting a whole scenario of where they're at in their history around training, around food, around do they have a family? Because the family is going to be affected by what the woman does and how she changes as well. What are the dynamics in the family? Because sometimes we have to work on, if they have kids at home still, or if they're looking after aging parents. So all of that has to come into play, right? Have they had proper exercise over the years? Have they been spotty with it? What was that exercise or movement plan? Again, this all plays into what they're presenting forward in their physical being, as well as their mental and emotional as well, right? So a lot of women, when I say women over 40, they're kind of stuck. A lot of the women I work with have tried and tried and tried, but they're trying the same thing with just a different name, different diet, different workout plan, and they're not going under the hood, if you will. They're not looking, or they haven't been taught to look deeper, where what I do is I'm not just about food and nutrition. I also blend in the mental, emotional, and spiritual as well. That's the big, big piece. The mindset piece is super, super important. And the women that I work with are wanting and are interested in that. And the women that just want to be told, how do I eat and how do I move? That's cool too. But that would be for another coach. That's not my area, because it would be a waste of my expertise. And I feel it would be a waste of their time as well, for most women, not all women, because some women are dialed in with mindset or with their empowerment. And unfortunately, I don't see that enough, but some women are, and then they've got that rocking. And then all they need is to look at, how do I eat and how do I move and train at this stage in my life, right? But for me, I weave it all in. And so a lot of my women also are looking for a sense of purpose, or they don't always know that's what they're looking for, but it's kind of like there's a hunger there. There is a piece that says, well, I've lived up to 40 or 50, 60 plus. I've done all the right stuff. I've raised kids. I've got a family. I've had a career, all that kind of stuff. But there is still a sense of, is this all there is? And for a lot of women that I work with, they get that inkling, that tap on the shoulder that says, oh no, honey, there's much more, but it requires a different approach and a different understanding. So my women are hungry to understand the deeper aspects of our life, the world, our relationship to it. Who are we? Uh, do we matter, and why are we here? So it's really big world questions, right? Yeah, I am just reading off my notes here, because I was sitting this morning going, who do I work with? And it just kind of came out, because there's there's a lot in there. There's a lot in that brain of mine. Okay. A lot of my women, their body is not responding, as I was saying, because of aging, hormones, diet history, lack of proper movement. There might be genetic aspects. There might be health issues as well. There might be a lack of time, lack of resources, but those last two usually can be worked around, because often they're just things that we think are in the way, they're not, but there's this stuckness, they're stuck. A lot of my women are info junkies. I have to confess, a lot of them are constantly in this rinse and repeat, and they have been sometimes for a decade, 2, 3, 4 decades, right? Where they've grown up in a system that says everything you need is out there. And now with weight loss, healthy metabolism, getting in great shape, there is more out there than ever. That's a problem, because it's confusing and it's info overload. And to get a amazing body transformation does not require more. It actually requires less. And it's about returning to basics, but it's about having consistency, having an action plan, and a solid strategy in a straight line, rather than going all over the place. And then what happens is, when women don't see results, they fall away, they go back onto Google again, or they do another YouTube video, or they're searching, and they can't quite put it together, because at this age it's hard for us to put together if we haven't already assessed and done that work. So that's where the coaching piece is really important. So the other piece is that they need to reconnect their head to their heart. Big piece. So as an empowerment coach, what I do is we work with emotions, with frequencies, with the energetic pattern, with vibrations, yeah, all that woo-woo stuff. And sometimes when I bring that forward, when I'm talking to a potential client, they're like, oh, okay, that's too weird for me. Then we're not a fit, right? And that's cool. Honestly, everybody's at their own place in their evolution and their journey. And it's not on me to say, well, you should be doing this or this or this. I need women up to a certain spot where if they're open and they're curious, we can work together. If they're not, or they go, oh, that stuff scares me. And I've had some deeply religious people come forward. And if I say the word spirit, they run for the hills. Cool. Then that's fine. And I don't try to explain my version of spirit and religion and all that stuff. I see as one and the same, living and operating from an open heart. But there are differences in how people see it. So again, I'm not here to convince, and I'm certainly not here to convert. I'm here to meet clients where they're at, but where they're at needs to be a fit. And if that is offensive, me working in the metaphysical world, me working with meditation and prayer work and envisioning and chakras and all the stuff that I do, then it's not a fit. And I do put that out there right away. So if they are ready to connect head to heart, because so many of us are in the head, if they're ready to step out of living unconsciously, and what I say is, in my viewpoint, just my viewpoint, 95% of the people out there walking on this earth are living unconsciously. And the 5% that aren't, they don't really need my support because they know what to do. And if they're moving into some kind of body transformation, they've got good momentum, right? Because it really is, again, about going under the surface into the foundational stuff. And this is where I say it's a heart-centered, soul-centered approach. And it needs to be, because we're divorced from our heart. And we all have soul and spirit, but sometimes we are so caught up in our world that we're looking externally, and we are divorcing ourselves, and we're unconscious, and we live by remote control. We don't question things. We're just doing what we think we're supposed to do. We're living alongside the masses. We are living in mainstream, and we're just doing as everybody else is doing and just trying to keep up and trying to survive. But there is a point where that doesn't serve people. And that's when they go, oh, what am I doing? So rather than reacting to life, we want to respond. And we want to stop looking out there and making everything out there defining our level of health and happiness, and start understanding that it all starts within. And so that's the bigger metaphysical mindset, conscious work, if you will, the enlightenment, empowerment work that I do. Here's the deal. A lot of women will say, when I lose the weight or when I get in better shape, I'll feel better. And what I say to them is, you need to turn that around. When you feel better, when you're feeling empowered and joyful, and you're living up here in joy and bliss and freedom and self-love and self-worth and ease, which are higher vibrations, lighter, stronger, then you're going to want to feed your body well. You're going to want to move your body well. But if you're coming from down here in the lower frequencies of anger, frustration, grief, sadness, resentment, longing, we're trying to create a healthy body, which is living up here, from an unhealthy mindset, unhealthy thought patterns and conditioning. And it is about understanding that conditioning and saying, okay, well, I got to be up here. And then when I make positive changes up here, I'm going to attract positive. When we're down here, we're going to keep attracting at the level that we're vibrating and living at. So this is really important for women to understand, because when they're doing the rinse and repeat, when they can't get their body transformation happening, and it's been a lot of years, they're feeling frustrated, all they're going to do by grabbing another YouTube video or grabbing another diet plan is they're bringing in the same energy at the same level. That's all it is. And so it is about being able to reframe and get rid of the self-limiting beliefs and expand the self-identity so you're up here. And now when you're up here, you will attract, you will be motivated, you will move into a place of self-care, self-love, and worthiness. And then the food and the movement practice is going to be a natural part of how you live from this point forward. Does that make sense? Might be too much for you. I get it, because I'm like a fire hose, right? I've been told that. But there's just so much to teach, and there's so much for me to share. The other thing is, Okay, so we talked about the frequencies of emotion and where you're living in your world. It's not to say you don't feel sadness and grief. I mean, that's being human. I get it. That's where though that's part of being human. But when we're living and operating from that place, and a lot of times we don't know it, that's the unconscious living that people are going through. And we see it in today's world, guys. Take a look around. Look on any social media. There are more blamers and complainers. There are more victims. And when you're down in that energy, you can't create a higher level of living and being when you're down there. And so they are attracting and they're regurgitating the same negative energy. And then it draws other people into it, and they're in this group as well. And again, I say that's the 95% of the people out there that are living unconsciously. So the two most important things that I need to impress upon women that I work with is they have to commit to two things: being open and being curious. Because when you have those two things, you ask better questions, you look at things differently, you consider moving into uncomfortable places, which is really only short term until you learn a new way. You consider looking at what you bought into in your childhood, in your early years, that you're still bringing along with you, that has outserved its purpose, right? So we talk about, and I teach personas, and you guys know this. Intuitively, you know this. A lot of us have the persona of the people pleaser, or the fixer, or the perfectionist, or the lone wolf, the isolator, or the bossy girl, the drama queen, right? All of these, the caretaker, they're all personas that don't allow us to live from our authentic self. Now, it's not to say we don't take care of our loved ones, we do. But when you have a role and you're defined by that role, your essence, your spirit is not at play. It's on the sidelines. And what we need to do is re-emerge who we are, our heart and spirit with what we do. Our personality is one. But the problems, they evolve when we have patterns and conditioning and self-limiting beliefs and unconscious patterns that have been living in us for so long. And then when you try to apply a healthy eating plan or a healthy movement plan, you want to look at how to age differently. You want to age gracefully and well. You want to have vitality and energy. You don't want to be in pain. You want to have full mobility and function. But that little thing inside your brain from a long time ago says, oh, no, you tried that before, you're going to fail. Oh, who do you think you are? Don't get too big for your britches. Oh, that's what conceited people do. Oh, well, that's going to take a lot of time or a lot of money. Are you sure you want to live like that? That's going to be hard. What do you have to give up? It sounds like prison. That is the pattern and the conditioning. That needs to change. That's the bigger piece of what I do in my working with clients. And if I see that there's an understanding and they resonate with me bringing this forward because I can view it in them from an external place, I can be objective and see their patterns, then if they're open to it, then it's like, okay, then I know they've gone over that fear bridge because there's fear and they're ready to commit. So my women need to be coachable and committed. It doesn't mean they're not afraid, guys. Change is scary, and our psyche is wired to not want to change. Our brains do not want to change. And so that's just how we're wired. But we have to override that if we're going to grow in our life. I mean, you were probably scared to death when you first went to high school, or when you bought your first car and you carried some debt maybe to get that car, or when you had to confront somebody at work because of an uncomfortable situation, or you had to do your first public speaking gig. Like, look at all those places where you indeed have grown and you've gone over that fear hump. And the only way out is through. And on the other side of fear is freedom. And when it comes to helping women to age gracefully, to age well, and have a strong, healthy body that they love and they support, there's a lot of fear in a fear of failure, for sure. Yeah, I get that. But failure is just feedback. It just means you didn't have the right strategy. That's all. And are you going to give up? Or are you going to try again? Right? And then there's a fear of success. And this is where a lot of women unconsciously are fearful of their own success because it might be too much responsibility. Maybe people won't like me anymore because I'll be successful. I don't know who I am in a sexy lean body. Maybe I feel uncomfortable that way. Maybe my relationships will be challenged because if they see me growing and I'm growing, or maybe I want to be out of my relationship because now I'm growing in ways that I need and want to. And what's that going to do to my relationship? There's so many fears of success, guys. And so that's another unconscious one. The other, so those are two fears: fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what will others think. That's a big one for women. Big one. Like we keep ourselves in our own little shoebox a lot of the times because we were told, don't be too big for your britches, or we didn't come from money, so who are you to be successful and have abundance, right? All of these little things come back when it's been sitting there for 30 or 40 years and we think, no, we're over it, we're older and more mature. It doesn't mean that it's not still at work, guys. We carry our stories with us. And in my work, I'm really diligent about helping women to put the stories away. Doesn't mean we're erasing our past. What it means is that our stories are not supposed to live us. When they do, we are not living from our authentic, grounded, wise self. And we all have that. We're not living from integrity. We're not speaking and living our truth. The body will take the brunt of all that misalignment, of all of that dissonance. That's one of the big reasons we check out with food, or we can't stay on track, or we beat ourselves up if we fail and then we don't want to try again because we're afraid of failing, or we blame hormones, we blame aging, we get angry about where we are in our life because of the choices that we made or didn't make, and we take it out on our body, on our food. All of this stuff just gets circulated, guys. So that is the foundational work that we need to do. So we do a beliefs detox. It's called getting the junk out. And we have to work on that throughout because they keep coming back. They keep coming back. And that they're supposed to, because we've had them for a long time. But they also helped us get through some pretty challenging times. And every woman I've spoken to has had a challenging life in one way or another. And that's the role of being a human on this planet. And so when we look at that, we don't make anything wrong. We just recognize and we reframe it and move through it. And that's the bigger piece of proper coaching, guys. A coach is not supposed to tell you what to do or give you advice or give you more info. Okay, that is not how you build and support women in a different way of seeing and living in the world that's going to shift their habits and their thinking into positive paths, right? It really is about understanding the psychology of the person and the meaning they put on things, taking the time to do that. It takes time. And being able to see how they're wired. And then when stuff comes up, and this is the big thing, when everything's going great, that's great. But it's when stuff comes up, when you hit a roadblock or a speed bump, or you don't show up for a coaching call or whatever, that's when coaching matters. Why? Because that's when we can look at what's really going on here. That piece is what we need to remold, right? To either enhance, throw it to the curb, whatever it happens to be. So that's what Big C coaching is. And that's the work that I do. And so those are the clients that I love to work with. The women that are willing to go to the deeper level are saying, I want something more. And yeah, you want a great friggin' body, right? You deserve it. We want to age well, looking great, feeling great. Absolutely. We want a great relationship with food. But we also have to live from the heart and step back into who we're meant to be and why we're here. And if we don't know, we find that along the way. So let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, they want to age differently. They want to be strong, lean, grounded, empowered. They want to age differently, guys. Here's the deal. Not to offend anybody. I always seem to offend people, though I really don't mean to. I just want to speak the truth. When I said 95% of the people out there are living unconsciously, I do believe that. It takes work to be conscious. I lived unconsciously. I was a meat and potatoes girl for like 30 years. And at 30, life took a big hard turn. And the way of me trying to work my way through it into happiness again, or what I thought was happiness, right? Towing the party line, doing all the right stuff, it wasn't fulfilling me. And so I spent many years, and I've been in personal growth for over 30 years, like not just reading self-help books, but serious personal growth. And a lot of metaphysical work and meditation and prayer work, and a lot of amazing coaches and mentors that I've worked with that I still work with. I still have my mentors, guys, and I will never not, because they support me. That's my community. They teach me so I can pass on to my people. So I'm a mentor to other people, perhaps, right? And we need to have an ecosystem of success. What does that mean? It was Jim Rohn, probably many people, that said you are defined by the 5 people you hang with. So who is your community? Again, this is me going back to asking at the start, what's your lifestyle like? Are you married? Do you have kids? What about your parents? What is your work? That is understanding the ecosystem that they're swimming in. Because here's the deal. If you're trying to get in my world, an amazing body transformation, or if you're in the world of money or relationships or career, and you want to be successful in those, and you take a lovely program with an amazing coach, an amazing community, and if you're not staying within that environment, at least through some kind of program that has accountability, that has weekly check-ins, or that just has a group of like-minded people that you hang with, what happens is you go back out into mainstream. You know what mainstream's about, right? 95% of the people are not happy. They're like living on remote control. The world is going crazy and they're not reaching their results. Or if they do, they don't sustain it. And that 95% of people don't sustain it because there's been no shift in their mindset, in their inner landscape, as I call it. And having that community is super, super important, because we need to be nurtured and nourished in this new way, because the world out there is not built for people's success, guys. And that's one of the reasons why everybody falls, from grace in what they're trying to apply in their world, whether it's a healthy body, great career, lots of money, great relationship, great marriage, whatever it is. It's because they're not swimming in that ecosystem of success. That's super, super important, right? My women want to learn to live in ease and flow. What does that mean? When you're struggling with your body, you're struggling with your weight, you're struggling with the diet, when you think it's never going to work, when you hate aging, don't hate your body, guys. Seriously, when you hate hormones, don't hate your hormones. Hormones are life affirming. They gave us our babies, right? They were there for a reason, and they do all sorts of good things for our health. When we start looking at it as a negative, we are living in resistance. When we're living in resistance, when we're saying all that self-talk, either consciously or unconsciously, and a lot of it is just in the feeling, it's not even in the words in our head, it's in the feeling. Oh, I'm 50 pounds overweight. I got to lose this. Oh, I hate eating like this. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. I really don't want to do this. I hate going to the gym. Then what happens is you're living in resistance. Can you imagine swimming in that toxic, heavy, dark energy for years? Right? And so this is where we learn to up-level ourselves and live with ease and flow. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just don't know it. And some people are uncomfortable with feeling good. And that's another big thing. That's a fear of success, feeling good and being able to do things effortlessly. They don't trust it, because a lot of people, and you guys know it, if you're on forums in Facebook or whatever, a lot of people think this stuff has to be difficult. You have to have the exact number of macros. You have to know your maintenance, and you have to do a build for 3.5 months, and then you have to do a cut for 2.5 months. You got to see all that lovely muscle, and then you got to do it again and again. And I don't know the calories, and I'm trying to figure out that. I'm like, ah! Do you want to live like that? Seriously? Do you want to live with a food app taped to your hip? I don't want you at my house for dinner if you're going to be coming along with that. At our age, 40, 50, 60, we need more freedom. But we need a rooted strategy that works and goes on remote control. That's the bigger piece. So you've got to learn it first before you can move into intuitive eating before you can move into consistent exercise where you don't fight with yourself. Again, that's the mindset work, guys, but it's also having a strategy and structure in your healthy living plan. Absolutely important. So the women I work with basically want to go from the 95% that are unconscious living along mainstream and not seeing results, and they're getting older and they wonder, where are things going? Why can't I get there? And they want to become the 5%. And the 5% are the women who are courageous, they're committed, they don't know what they don't know. They think it's all about getting more info, but when they start moving into a new way, a fresh way, then they start understanding, oh my gosh, I've been like living like with blinders on, right? And a lot of us have been until we wake up. And the women I work with are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they are ready for a change. Big C coaching, a full-on program. It's a 20-week program that I offer. It's the only thing I teach. It's the only thing I need to teach because it's got everything in it. And it's got coaching from myself, the main coach, and 3 other coaches. And we look at food, we look at mindset, we look at hormones, we look at all of these. And it's really important that the women I work with know it's going to be work. Okay, it's not going to be what you've been used to, which is grab a YouTube video, grab a diet plan, and give it a go. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this will work. And here's the thing, guys, there are women who follow that path, and it's cool. What I'm saying is, if it works for you and you like it, and it's something that you can live with, and it's giving you results, then stay with it, right? But if you're not, and you're hungry for something deeper and more longing, and you're ready to reconnect yourself and get into the best body of your life and to live from that 30,000-foot view, empowered, grounded in ease and flow, and be able to open yourself up to a new skill set and new toolkit and a different understanding of your place in this world, and moving forward and aging differently, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then I would say you can book a call with me. I have complimentary calls. I do not charge for those calls, and I do not invite women into my program unless I see it's a kick-ass fit. It's got to be a fit for both of us, for you and for me, right? And we got to click, but I also got to see, is this where you're at? Are you really, really, really interested? And if you're not, that's okay too. It might not be good timing, or it might just be too much fear in there that we can't break through. My job is not to convince. My job is to show you the possibility of what can be, and you decide if you want to take it or not. You make a decision, and not doing something is still making a decision to not, and that's cool too, right? The most important thing we have in this world, ladies, is freedom of choice, okay? And if anybody tries to convince you, if anybody tries to push you into anything, then there's a piece of you that's been sold out, and you know that feeling, and it's yucky, yucky, yucky. So what I offer, just to finish up this long-winded video, what I offer is a 45-minute complimentary coaching call. And so what you do is you click on and book a time around your schedule. And then a questionnaire comes out because I need to know where you're at. So I need the questions answered just to see where you are in your life, physically, nutritionally. What has your movement been? If none, that's okay. What are the other pieces of your world? I can see that. And then when we get on the phone, I can have a clear vision of where you're at, where you need to go, and offer a strategy. If that's with me, I can show you what that looks like. If it's not with me, that's fine too. I can show you where I would suggest you need to go. My role on those free calls is to have every woman walk away with a sense of heightened awareness and clarity and an aha or 2 moments. That's the key. That's my whole key. Okay, so it's warriorwomanfitness.com/apply. So that's warriorwoman with an A, fitness.com/apply. That will take you to my personal booking calendar. Questionnaire will come out. I do ask, and it will be in there, that you watch a short 20-minute video that outlines exactly how I operate, what I offer, and who I work with so that there's no surprises and you can look at it and say, yes, it's for me or no, it's not. And I will be bringing that into the call as well, just so you know what we're going to go through in the call. Yeah, we're going to look at food. Yeah, we're going to look at movement, but we're also going to look under the hood. We're going to look at your foundational stuff. Have you built a house on sand or is it on concrete? Have you got self-limiting beliefs and patterns? Yeah, you do. We all do. And I can assess those out for you pretty fast. So that's what I do in the call. So if you're interested, then go to the link, warriorwomanfitness.com/apply. And if you don't, that's cool too. But these are the women that get great results and lasting results. Because here's the deal. I don't do befores and afters. I despise pictures like befores and afters. And again, that's big box fitness and wellness. That's great, right? I'm more boutique and I want my women to have befores and way afters. Where are they in 5 years, 10 years? What did they draw from our work together? How is it rooted in? Very different scenario, very different way of aging. Okay, you guys, I hope that clarified some questions because it's September. A lot of women are now looking for something and asking questions. So I just wanted to put out there how I separate myself, or how I feel I separate myself from all the other crazy health and fitness and weight loss and wellness stuff out there, because it's huge and there's a lot coming at you guys. And I know that. If you have any questions, you can email me, Karen@mccoyfitness.ca. I'm happy to help. Hopefully this was eye-opening and supportive and offering you a little bit of clarity moving forward. Okay, you guys, lots of love. Ciao.